Hello, everybody. Season 3's finale of The Boys was probably the best episode of the season, and I'd say the most important, just simply because of all the things that get put into place setting up a season 4. So let's get into it. And obviously, spoilers for the season finale of The Boys. Firstly, I just want to state that the action and the fight choreography that happens at the end of this episode is probably some of the best action and fighting that we've seen from the entire series. The show's always been very story and character forward and doesn't really rely on the action or the visuals quite as much as DC or Marvel might sometimes. But this fight at the end of this episode definitely stepped it up from previous action that we've seen from this show. We are shown once again that Butcher does in fact have a heart, it's just a very troubled one, and we see that whenever he saves Huey's life in the most Butcher fashion possible by knocking him out and leaving him in a gas station bathroom just so Huey wouldn't take more temporary Compound V going with them on their mission. And this helps Huey realize that being strong isn't always necessarily physical, and that helps him reconcile with Starlight. And we see that he's grown in the final battle when he puts his faith in Starlight's powers instead of giving himself more temporary powers. My guy Black Noir confidently comes back to Vought Tower with his cartoon friends by his side to apologize to Homelander, but also to help Homelander kill Soldier Boy. But unfortunately, that idea backfired on Noir whenever Homelander puts together that Noir knew that Soldier Boy was Homelander's dad, but didn't tell him, and Homelander kills him for it. And I gotta say, if I was a crier, I would 100% have cried at that scene. Black Noir is one of my two favorite characters in the whole show. I also don't believe that Noir's actually dead, but I'll get into that in part 2. And in that scene, we also get a very rare bit of genuine sadness on Homelander's face when he kills Noir, because you can tell that he actually trusted him and somewhat cared for him. Homelander also goes to find Ryan using the address that Newman gave him last episode, and very, very unfortunately gets Ryan to join him. Kimiko convinces Frenchie to stop using that, and stand up for himself a little bit. And I absolutely love these two together. Plus, we get to see Kimiko adorably use her love of music to help her cope with all the lives that she's taking. Soldier Boy continues to be just the fucking worst by continuing his themes from last episode, which is the sins of the father becoming the sins of the son, and treats Homelander the same way that his father treated him and calls him a disappointment. And that's like their whole problem. Soldier Boy was always desperate to prove that he was a real man to his father, and Homelander is desperate for affection. That's the root as to why they're both terrible people. The final battle ensues, people start swapping sides. Soldier Boy is a fucking savage, and I love it. I also love how ridiculously heavy his shield is, just a fun little detail. And Maeve was giving Homelander that work before she had to stop and save the day, but now I need a part 2. Hello everybody, this is part 2 of talking about the season 3 finale of The Boys. So Maeve does give Homelander that work for a little bit, but she still gets pretty messed up. I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I didn't think that Maeve was going to make it out of this season alive, and they really had me thinking that with the way that she saved the day. Right as Soldier Boy is about to explode and either take everyone's powers or kill them, or both, Maeve tackles him out the window, saving everybody, and they explode in the air, seemingly killing Maeve. But luckily she did survive, so did Soldier Boy of course, but Maeve doesn't have her superpowers anymore, so she's going to go into hiding with her girlfriend Elena. And then this season ends with Homelander killing a civilian in broad daylight in a crowd of people, and his fans cheer for it. And what's even worse, Ryan shows a little smile about it. We also see that Newman orchestrated the death of a VP candidate so that she can run for vice president herself. But now let's talk about the implications of this season and what I think they're setting up for season 4, which they did get renewed for, by the way. So firstly, like I said in part 1, I don't think that Black Noir is actually dead. We've seen him survive some terrible, terrible injuries, so I feel like he could probably survive the way that Homelander supposedly killed him. But that might just be wishful thinking because he's my second favorite character. Homelander is definitely going to start grooming Ryan to be like him, and that's just awful because as if Homelander and Soldier Boy running around weren't bad enough, now we're going to have like a second Homelander. But conversely, Ryan could end up having a change of heart and being their best weapon against Homelander, so that one could go either way. Butcher is slowly dying because of his use of the temporary V, so I don't know if they're going to try and save his life, maybe with the permanent version of Compound V, but that's probably going to cause an interesting dynamic and some interesting actions and motivations for him in season 4. Starlight is going to be a huge political figure and political weapon against Homelander and Newman in season 4, which is going to be very interesting. Speaking of Newman, I think she was actually the biggest player of this season. And what I mean by that is Homelander and Soldier Boy were the big threats of the season, but I think that she was making even bigger moves behind the scenes. Her plan started with removing Edgar from Vought, but I don't think she actually betrayed him. I think she's setting him up to get his power back. She's made Homelander think that they're on the same side, so he would help get her even more political power in exchange. But at the same time, she knew that Homelander would run Vought into the ground, effectively getting rid of at least some of his political and financial power. Then once she's vice president, she can kill Singer and become president. Then she'd have the authority to put Edgar back in charge of Vought, and they can breed soups and use him in the military and do whatever the hell she wants. But those are just my theories. All in all, they've left us in a very interesting spot going into season 4.